now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Max World.
And here we go.
Everybody, everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
7 minutes after 4 o'clock on the 6th day of January in the Lord's year 2017. I'm J. Michael McCoy. It is a Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock hour, and we think about the weekend. Think about what's going on. And this is one of the most lost weekends of the year. Your college football's over. You are not deep enough into the season of college basketball. You've just gotten over the big whirl of the holidays, which for a lot of people start Labor Day or maybe Halloween, but certainly by Thanksgiving.
And NASCAR hasn't started yet.
And we're still 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl. And I can't even, I have been so removed from NFL football. Who's even in the running for the Super Bowl?
Well, my Packers are in there,
Okay.
and they won their division, fantastically last weekend. The Lions are in as well.
Aren't the Cowboys in?
Giants are in. I don't know, honestly. I know the Miami Dolphins are in wild card on the AFC. I'm not sure. We do fantasy football. We watch it, but I really follow the Packers when it comes to following my teams.
Yeah, all right. I was going to ask Jebediah there because I think he's a big football fan, but Cowboys are in. Okay, good. Because I suppose we're in playoff season?
Yeah, this is playoff weekend.
Okay, so no, there hasn't been any playoffs before this?
No.
So we're in wild card this weekend?
Yes,
okay.
On Saturday, and Sunday is divisional games, I think. I know the Packers play on Sunday.
Who do they play?
They're playing the Giants at Lambeau.
And is that one and out?
I think
they lose on Sunday, then they're out of the...
Yeah.
Okay. Is Bart Starr still doing good?
Won't lose. What? Who? Bart who?
You're a Packers fan, right? I just wonder how their quarterback, Bart's doing.
Yeah, Aaron.
Bart Aaron?
Rodgers.
Bart Rodgers?
Come on, man.
Back ain't out of the 60s, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
I'm still looking for a showdown between Dandy Don Meredith and Broadway Joe, whatever his last name was.
Howard Cosell.
Namath. All right. Anyway, so and it's going to be cold this weekend, but it'll be hot at the Fort Des Moines Church of Christ.
Yep.
Because you're wrapping up your series on
the Holy Spirit.
how you can never lose your salvation.
On the Holy Spirit.
Okay. What don't I know about the Holy Spirit? What do you want me to know about the Holy Spirit?
Let me count the ways.
What do you want? You want somebody to sit in this chair every week that has that grand knowledge and supreme biblical theology, so you can just listen and never doubt, never argue, never complain. You want me to be that smart on theology?
No, man. I love coming here and hearing the spiritual infancy of where you're at. And
what did you say? What was that term you used? Spiritual infancy?
I just appreciate that. Everybody loves babies, man. Everybody does.
All right. Well, I am what I am. God uses me every day, and we have a Bible study here on the radio every day.
That's fantastic.
And I don't ever apologize for only being a 6-year Christian or whatever it is.
Well, you know this, Mac. I mess with you, but I do love you and I care about you.
I know you do. Thank you. And I'm just trying to follow him. I can't. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I just can't believe he picked me. Of all the wretches, and this isn't self-deprecation. I've lived in this town long enough. People listening are going, "Yeah, he was. It was pretty bad," and I was. I had no conscience. I My relationship with God was that of I was in control of him, and thanks for hanging around, God, and let me say your prayer. Morals? What the hell are morals? Your morals are different than mine. My morals say I can get away with it. Your morals say you can't. So there's morals. I mean, I was just... And to just have him come along, and I'm not a Calvinist, but gosh darn it, that's the way it happened. He came and moved his little finger and said, come here, and there was no way I could say no. I don't know how I could have. And I've never, ever asked him to let me go. Lost a marriage over it. Never asked him to let me go. So, whatever he's got planned for me, and maybe it's just this. I mean, maybe this will be my last
hurrah
4 o'clock service or show I'll ever do, and come Monday at 4 o'clock, you'll all be sitting here with black armbands or mimosas, one or the other, because, Matt got called home. But if I get called home, don't you be sad, because he got me. Mm-hmm. He brought me around, and I can tell you there are some people out there who said, this isn't verbatim, but basically, if it's good enough for Mac, I've got to be good enough for God. Kelly likes to tell people that at the lowest point in his life, I was the only person he could think of calling.
Wow.
And took him to a Bible study one morning that he did not want to be at, and that was it. And now he loves the Lord and his son. He brings up his children that way, and he preaches the gospel, and he's married to a wonderful woman. And none of that would have happened if God hadn't used me to go to some wretched soul like me and say, if Jesus is good enough for me, maybe you should just check him out.
Sure.
So, anyway. All right, David Rude left. If you've been listening, he's a listener of ours, and we sure appreciated to have him in here. I love listeners when they come in here like this. Yesterday, the second hour was a mom and 3 daughters.
Huh. And
they're all homeschooled up in Huxley, and it was just a great show.
That's cool.
Yeah, bringing in just regular people and just talking about Jesus. I can't think of anything better. All right, if you want to ask us a question or get on the radio, it's easy, 515-244-0077. Or you can text us at the Service Legends Truth Talk text line at 515-809-0993. And Bob Monster at the Cat in the Hat has a text for us. Go ahead and fire, Captain.
Okay, it says, ask the pastor if he has obeyed the command to love God with all his heart. Now, if that's the case, is he in perpetual sin for not obeying that command?
So you didn't. When I left the room, I went over and text. Yeah, I did. And I spelled some things wrong, so they'd never guess it was me.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I think that I would ask the same question of him. I mean, do you love God with all your heart? I would like to think that I am in that place. I have sold out my entire life for the preaching of the gospel of Jesus. I have.
Why did you use the term sold out? Man, you're a blessed man.
I am blessed.
Sell out anything.
I am blessed, but I sold out to the world, and I have faced death threats. I have literally put it all out there for Jesus, and I think that. I don't know what else I could offer him than everything that I have offered, other than my physical life. And at some point, that's his as well.
A friend of the world is an enemy of Christ.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I thought about that before we went to Jerusalem. I had no idea we'd be in the predicament that we were eventually in over there. I didn't think we'd be in Palestine, and we'd have soldiers walking around and asking us for our papers and machine guns, and that we would try to get back in the community on Christmas Eve, and there would be protesters that were stopped at the gate, and at any point we could have heard shots fired or tear gas shot into the crowd or anything like that. But I was totally ready to meet my Maker. if that was the case. And I don't know if this is nuts or not, but I made some phone calls. I don't know, 5 of them maybe, 6 of them, to people, and I just said, I don't know what's going to happen over there, and I'm not trying to make a big deal, but if for some reason this is the last time we talk, just know that I love you and that you meant the world to me. And then I'd choke up a little bit and I couldn't talk. Well, I'm such a baby when it comes to that stuff. But I was fully prepared to lay my life down over there for Christ. And I don't think that was the case until a couple years ago. In fact, we even did a show once, didn't we, Frank? Where we talked about if somebody said, deny Christ or I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, it was if someone is holding a gun at your head, would you deny? Would you? And they said, you deny Christ or I'll kill you. And it would be the idea: do you want your last act being denying Christ, or are you willing to die?
I think that I could say unequivocally that I would welcome death rather than deny Jesus. I can't imagine a scenario that I could say that I would do that.
Well, remember the Reformers. I mean, they didn't know they had the power of a martyr till they stood up and done it, till the Spirit gave them the power to do it. But they didn't make those fires hot like the ones they threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into. They lowered those fires for maximum effect.
Right.
And, standing there waiting to get tossed in that, those were some courageous guys.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, doubting God. Do you doubt him? I do. Or do I? It's not a sin. In fact, it may be a welcome conversation he wants us to have with him. We'll do that next.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens, rock on! This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. Episcopalian hymn there. Let me tell you. 4:22 in the afternoon on the 6th day of January in the Lord's year 2017. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and you're listening live to Mac's World, MAC''S world.net. My website is macmccoy.com, MACMCKOY. That's Mary, Apples, Cat, Mary. No, not cat. Yeah, cat. Mary, cat, kittens, ostrich, yellow.com. Well, that's for Brad Sand, who's listening. He's a military guy. And that's the military, language.
Roger.
And out. Our guest today is Pastor Michael Damastis from the Fort Des Moines Church of Christ. Services at 10 a.m. Every Sunday morning. So you work an hour a week?
I do, man. I got a good gig.
Do you work on Wednesday nights? Do you have stuff?
Yeah, I got an hour there, too.
You got an hour there, too?
It's really killing me. And I got Sunday school on Sunday mornings at 9. So, come on, man.
3 hours a week?
It's tough.
Man, do you get your Obamacare for that, too?
Got my free Obama phone.
I got I'm looking at health insurance plans, and I haven't done that in 40 years in my life. And Obamacare is really a wreck. I mean, it's not just those of us on the right that have been saying that for the last, whatever it is, 4-6 years. But the insurance companies now realize it's just a travesty. And it has messed up everything.
Mm-hmm.
How many companies have pulled out of the exchange so far?
All of them except 2 in Iowa. Aetna, which goes under the name of Coventry. And then Wells Blue Bunny.
Blue Cross.
No, Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Blue Bunny.
Wells Blue Bunny. What's up, Doc? So anyway. All right. Any texts or anything? Because we're going to start out the conversation. And Bob, we're going to start with you. Where do you doubt God? In what do you doubt God? I'd like to just maybe put the question out there. Do you ever doubt God? Because I'm trying to think if I doubt him. Is it just horrible to say if I don't think I do?
I'm going to, when you come around to me, I'm going to share with you the biggest crisis of faith that I ever had in my life.
All right. Well, we'll wait for that big crescendo later. I'm going to go to Robert Montserrat here, have you ever doubted God?
Well, if you say ever, yeah, probably.
Okay, but do you
less
now?
Likely now. And it's one of those things, and I think of the verse you were bringing up, or the part in Scripture where the man had an epileptic kid and the disciples couldn't heal him, and when Jesus said, "Do you want me to heal him?" and he says, yes, and when he said, "I believe, but help my unbelief," I see that as I believe he can do it, but will he do it for me? In my situation. Do I believe God can heal people? Do I believe God can do miraculous miracles? Yes, but will he do it for me? So in a sense, that is a doubt that, maybe I'm not good enough, or something about me that he's not going to do some of these things. But I think more of, he's in control. He knows what my needs are, even though if I don't know what they are. He has a plan for me, even though I don't know what that plan is. So I'm in a trusting way that I trust that He has my best interest in mind, meaning that He has a plan for me and that He will do it. So that's where I am now, that I'm just going to wait. I'm going to patiently wait for Him to lead and guide and show me the way. That's where I am.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do, Pastor, when somebody says, why didn't God heal my blank? He didn't heal my mother, my father, my child, my spouse. What's the answer there?
Well, I guess I would ask the question of, what do you mean by heal? Because if a person has passed away and they were a believer, they're healed.
Right.
In every possible way. And so first and foremost, I would kind of have that kind of conversation. But ultimately, the answer also is that we don't know what God's ultimate will and plan is and what He's working out and why He's working it out. And, our perspective is like an ant on the side of Mount Rushmore. We can't see all of it. We see just this teeny little bit. And our perspective is so minimalized when it comes to what God is actually doing.
Then why pray for healing? Why go to the Father and say, would you please heal my mother-in-law? Would you please heal my father? Why even ask it?
Because there are times when God is just waiting for us to do that. He's just waiting for us to beseech Him and ask Him and petition Him.
Well, the book of Job before the book of Job, I think the narrative was painted that only good things happen to good people. Not bad things to good people, certainly. And Job just obliterated that idea that
absolutely
that only good. And it's the idea, do you still love me?
Mm-hmm.
You still love me? See, that's when your faith is put to the test. That's when your feet are put to the fire. We know we'll all love and serve in the good times.
Right.
It's when things is falling apart around us that really tests our faith, and everybody's faith is going to be tested at some point like that. Do you still love me?
Mm-hmm. And that's, it's a contemporary song, so Mac wouldn't listen to it or understand it. But I love "Blessed Be the Name of the Lord." On the
I
road.
know the song.
Oh, you do?
I do.
You sinner!
Blessed be the name. Find that so I can sing along with
the Newsboys version.
Newsboys version.
But
not the Blackwood Brothers.
But on the road marked with suffering, I can still bless His name. When everything's rosy and great and wonderful, I can bless His name. But when there's pain in the offering, can I still bless His name? That's the key, and that's the lesson of Job. And that's.
I'll be honest with you. Pastor Michael Damastis is here, Fort Des Moines Church of Christ services at 10 a.m. I don't remember the last time I prayed for something specific. Well, that's not true. On the airplane, or before the airplane ride over to the Holy Land, I prayed. I said, give me people on both sides of me in the seats that won't mind somebody like me sitting next to them.
That was a big request of God, by the way.
I know. And He answered it. He answered it right over. I had two Jewish boys, one age 19, one age 20. One had never heard the gospel. And God spoke through me. And I know when people used to say, God spoke through me on that, I'd go, yeah. I got some swampland to sell you. But He did. I'm sitting there next to this 19-year-old kid who's going over to join the Israeli army to serve his 2 years. And he had no concept of who Jesus was. It wasn't even an apologetic conversation. He just had no idea. He thought we honored Paul and Mary at the same level we honor Jesus. And he kept asking me, what's the proof? What's the proof that Jesus is the Messiah? I said, read your book. Read the Old Testament. It leans directly to Him. There's not a chance in the end. There's not three guys you can pick from who were born in the city of David that had the lineage that Christ had. On the way back, I sat next to Mary. I don't know if you heard the show yesterday, but Mary is a retired Army sergeant, 3 kids, husband still in the service, journalist. Oh, by the way, she's full-blooded Palestinian. And she's over there doing a documentary, basically showing how the Palestinian people are getting screwed by the Israelis and the Americans. And I didn't flip from one side to the other on that, but it sure did make a difference to me to hear that struggle firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Frank, what do you doubt God on? And don't say pork.
Well, a shout out to my friend Christian, the atheist, our friendly atheist, as opposed to the mean, angry, bitter ones. But I've told Christian that I've never really ever seriously doubted God's existence. What I've doubted at times is growing up in the faith, I never had that Paul-like experience where my life just got rocked from night to day. So it's just always been something that I've been involved in, and I know I've wandered and I've strayed. So I've had this personal doubts at times.
You let me shove a couple pork chunks on a stick down your throat, and you'll have that occasion. I'll tell you.
I have ate pork, brother, in my life. Please.
Okay.
I just don't make a habit out of it.
Bacon bits at the salad bar at Ryan's don't count.
But does God have that personal care for me? You know, because I've been through them valleys of doubt where I've really seriously wondered, is my prayers going any higher than the ceiling?
Right.
And, you know, I had a bunch of severe struggles in my life in about 1993. So it was like my life looked like a tornado debris field after it went through in 93. And I was seriously, you know, you hear that saying, Lord, oh, give us the next day. I was on my back crying for the next second. Or I will perish. Lord, give me the next second or I'm going to die. It was that severe. And you just begin to wonder, do you care? And it was a little bit like people told me, start reading the book of Job. Look at what Job went through. Do you still believe? Do you still believe? Because a lot of times it's really easy to give up our Ishmaels. But when we're asked to give up our Isaacs, it's a little bit tougher and a little closer to home. We don't want to give those up. But if we're going to hand it all to the Lord, we got to be willing to let go of it all if he requires it all. And we don't know if we're going to be like Job and get it and get it back sevenfold.
Right.
But do you still love me? Right. Are you still willing to walk? Are you still walking, you know, walk the walk or walk the talk, the old saying? You know, just don't talk the talk, walk the walk.
Right.
Are you still willing to walk the walk? That's you know, those are the things that I've had where I've had to really wonder, do you care about me?
And does he ever say yes? Does he ever say no?
He don't say it verbally, but sometimes the clouds just lift. Those dark clouds eventually just lift and I can see the light of day again.
515-244-0077, or you can join us on the Service Legends Truth Talk text line at 515-809-0993. When we come back, Pastor Damastis from the Fort Des Moines Church of Christ, 10 a.m. services on Sunday, will answer that question. Have you ever doubted God? Do you doubt him on a regular basis? What sin are you the most guilty of when it comes to doubting God? Mine have always been simple. I underestimate him. I don't believe he can do anything. I believe there's got to be some Western reason and justification for him to do something, not just nothing. We'll talk about it. We're coming back live here on The Truth. Yep, I told you it was the truth.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. It's 4:38, 22 minutes before the top of the hour. Blessed be thy name. Now, that is the Newsboys, but that song at one time or another was a traditional hymn. And time goes by and people turn it into something different. And there you go. What? Why do you find that funny?
I just think you're goofy on that, but that's all right.
You know, oh, you think I'm wrong?
No,
you don't think that was a traditional hymn?
No, I think that maybe it was. I don't know the history of that song in particular, but you know, I mean, every song at some point was contemporary, and every song at some point was bothering somebody.
Okay, you're right.
Because they're like, man, I don't like this new Onward Christian Soldiers. It's so weird. Back in 1865.
Yeah.
When it was actually written. For real, it was.
1865?
Yes.
I love Onward Christian Soldiers.
So
that's in my, that will be played at my funeral.
In 1866, the year the Civil War ended, people were singing that, and there were old people that were really getting mad at that new fandangled stuff.
Yeah. I get it.
You young kids with Elvis in these days.
Yes.
Yeah, that song, Blessed Be the Name, I just looked it up. Blessed be the name of the Lord. It's pretty old. 2002.
Don't count your chickens. All right.
Wow.
So 20 minutes before the top of the hour, Friday the 6th, and Pastor Michael Damastis is my guest, Fort Des Moines Church of Christ, services at 10 o'clock. And the question we're talking about today is, do you ever doubt God? Do you ever doubt faith? Do you ever wonder if what you believe has been a really good job of brainwashing?
A figment of your imagination.
Yeah, or just something that you've decided to pick up and say feels that good. I had that Jewish boy ask me that question on the airplane.
And I said, I don't think of myself as a Christian because I read the Bible or because I go to church or even because I have a relationship with Jesus. I'm a Christian because the Holy Spirit tells me I can't deny it. I'll challenge you, Mac. Try to deny me inside you. Okay, so King James Version, this version, that version, Jesus white, Jesus black, short, Arab, blue eyes, sandals, peace signs, white robes. I don't know. But I cannot deny this thing that lives within me that wasn't here until 5 or 6 years ago. I cannot deny that. As much as I want to try sometimes, well, as much as I do sometimes in my actions and my sinful nature. I told that little Jewish boy on the plane, I can't deny this thing that lives within me that was never there before. And it's not something you can pick up at Chuck E. Cheese for your 3rd birthday present. It's not at Come and Go on a Friday night. It's not at Yonkers on sale after Christmas. It's a gift we don't deserve, and we get it, and I don't think you can deny it. I don't know. I don't know.
And again, just to retort and come back at you, I would just ask you, and that's a very anecdotal thing, but biblically, I'm asking you the question. How does a person have his name removed from the Lamb's Book of Life? How is that possible?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Well, I don't think it can. I disagree with you. I don't think you can lose your salvation.
The Book of Revelation intimates that it can be removed.
Yes, and so that's my.
There we go. Let's go back to Scripture again. Prove it there. Oh boy.
Sorry, but again, I'm going to go with the God's word over Mac. But that's just me. So
well.
Go ahead,
Did you remember the story about John Huss and Jerome? And they were kind of a duo, much like Luther and Melanchthon and Peter and John and the different duos. But Huss and Jerome
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin, yeah. And one was
Sonny
kind of
and
the
Cher.
fiery guy, and one kind of tempered the other. And Huss was finally called to the stake for his faith. And because he wouldn't recant. And it came time for Jerome to recant, and he did. Because he started thinking about those flames. I don't know how long it took, but a week, 10 days later, Jerome says, light me up. I recant again. I'm going to go back. The fear of the flames is enough to scare the stuff out of anyone. And none of these men knew they had that strength to endure that martyrdom till they faced it, and the Holy Spirit gave them that.
Right.
I've got a chat comment here.
Okay, I'm listening.
All right. If you have no doubts at all, then you don't fully understand the complexities of God as the Bible describes him. Not sure if anyone agrees, but that's the take of this chatter.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with him. And I think that, like Mac even admits, he has doubts in his own way. I think that every person has doubts at some level. If I can take a moment and share my own moment where I had a serious crisis in faith. And it was my wife and I had been married for a little while. She was pregnant. We were in New England at the time, and she lost the child. And I remember being on the beach in the Hamptons and walking the beach with my wife, just trying to figure life out after that moment. And we saw this young, I couldn't even be 16-year-old kid, gal, her belly sticking way out, smoking a cigarette.
Oh.
And I just thought, God, we have given our lives to you. We want a child. We want to be parents, and this just doesn't seem fair. And that rocked me at such a level that I genuinely didn't know if I wanted to continue to pursue even being in ministry. And I didn't know that I wanted to serve God anymore because I felt betrayed by God. And I couldn't understand why it happened as it did. Now, hindsight, I mean, I go back and I look at that moment, and I know that God was not absent from that moment. I know that God was with us in the midst of our grief, and I know he was right there. I mean, the night that it happened, it was a horrible night. We hadn't been in New England very long. We were staying in Manchester, New Hampshire, in an apartment that I had only been in less than 2 weeks, and I only knew like a few streets, and I didn't know where to go. And so the night that I had to rush my wife to the hospital, I didn't know where the hospital was, and I literally, as we got in the car, this was before cell phones, and I prayed to God as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, God, I don't know which way to turn. I don't know where the hospital is, God. You've got to help me. And I just turned right, and I wasn't even a block, and I saw the blue sign with the white H, and I knew that God was literally right there with us, directing me which way to go. And so even though I felt little later that God was removed, as I look back, I know he was right there, and he hurt with us. And so I did have doubts. I think we all have doubts about God's goodness, his love, what's fair, what's not fair, what we deserve, what we don't deserve. And again, Job is a great place to go to when you're having those moments, because the Lord gives, the Lord takes away, but blessed be his name.
All right. James from Ankeny, you're live in Mac's World. You got about 30 seconds, buddy. What do you doubt?
Hey, I just got a question real quick. I know that I caught you guys right at the end of a break. Hey, I just want, forgive me if I'm saying a thought that's already been mentioned before. I just got in my car and started listening to you guys on the way home. But I'd be really careful to say that we could, do something to overturn Christ's redemptive work in our life. That we could do an action or have a change of mind that would overturn Christ's atonement. And again, I'm in my car. I don't have my Bible in front of me, but I want to say there's a passage in Matthew. For some reason, I want to say Matthew 18, and it talks about how once in the hand of God, you can never be plucked out of the hand of God.
All right, James, you hang on. I'll bring you back after this 2-minute break. We're live in Mac's World on The Truth. It is the truth, isn't it? That feels good.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
'Cause we all make mistakes sometimes, and we all step across that line. But nothing sweeter than the day we find. It's hanging over him like the clouds of Seattle. It raining on his swag, falling deeper in the saddle. It's written on his face.
Well, that's not any good. That's not a hymn. What is that? That's nothing. That's terrible. Why were you listening to that?
It was Toby Mac.
Oh, I like him. 10 minutes before the hour of 5 o'clock, 4:50 in the afternoon, 6th day of January, Lord's Year 2017. J. Michael McCoy along with Pastor Michael Damastis from Fort Des Moines Church of Christ. Services at 10 a.m. starting not this Sunday, but next Sunday. He starts a 69-week series on doubt. No, it's not 60.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yep.
6 weeks. So there's just not 69 weeks worth of doubt.
No.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And by the end of that 6 weeks, we'll never doubt about doubt again.
Well, it's honestly the only the title of the series is Room for Doubt, but the first sermon is going to be talking about the upside of doubt and how it's not necessarily always a negative. And we've kind of exposed a little bit of that today in just our discussion. But, I'm going to talk about the things that people struggle with. Why does God let really terrible things happen? What about the exclusive claims of Jesus? All of those issues. Is the Bible truly something that we can rely on? Do we have to rely on the Bible, or do we have to rely on Mac? I mean, what is it? And so those are the things that we're going to talk about.
Never. If it's between the Bible and me, put your odds on the Bible.
Okay,
but leave a little opening.
That's something new. I'll try
for a Macism. Because never mind. I'm getting into blasphemy. All right, James in Ankeny, I want to put you back on the radio. So you think it's somewhere in Matthew?
Yeah, again, forgive me. I'm in my car. I don't have my Bible with me, but I want to say Matthew 18, and I very well could be wrong. That there's a passage where they're talking about. I believe it's Jesus. And he talks about, and it's this thought of once someone is in the hand of God, you can never be plucked out of the hand of God. And I don't know if that's particularly talking about salvation.
It's talking about the love of God, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to share that thought. I mean, if we say that we can lose our salvation, what are we telling non-believers then? So then what's the point, right? So, I mean, if you can then do something to overturn Christ's atonement in your life, then what's this all about? I just wanted to share that thought. I didn't want to call and get into a debate or an argument. Just want to share that thought, being an encouragement to you guys.
No, I appreciate you calling in, and let me just engage it just for a moment, though. And I'm not wanting to debate or argue either. And chances are neither one of us would change each other's minds on it. But just food for thought on this for me is that I really think because you brought up what does this say to the non-believer. The adverse for me is because I'm one that rejects the idea of eternal security. The adverse for me is what does eternal security say for the believer? Because in essence, you're saying, well, we're saying that, for the non-believer, you might get salvation, but again, you might lose it, kind of like it's something in your wallet. You lose your keys. That's not what any person that rejects eternal security believes, but that's kind of how it's being posited. But what I'm saying is, and this is what I see play out in real life, people that I know that embrace the idea of eternal security. I've known many who live lives like a rebellious hellion, and yet they say it's okay. I'm safe. Because I don't have a worry or fear about losing my salvation.
Well, John Wesley and Charles Wesley taught against that. It was called antinomian teaching. It was the idea that there's nothing the elect can do that's either prohibited by law or displeasing to God, because it's an essential characteristic of the elect.
Right.
So why do we bother with those commandments? They're just suggestions.
Right.
So I would just going off what Pastor said, I would those people who.
All right, James, I appreciate you calling, man. Thanks for listening, and you're always welcome here in Mac's World. 5:55, 5 minutes before the top. Salem Radio Network News, and then of course Hank, the Bible Answer Man at 1-888-HANK. Ask Hank. I'm sorry, 1-888-ASK Hank. So what do I doubt? What do I doubt?
I doubt you can come up with anything.
I'm just trying to sit here and think. I don't know what I doubt. I don't remember the last time I was mad at God.
Doubting doesn't necessarily mean you're angry with God.
Well, but doubting means I don't think he can do something he says he can do, right?
It can mean that. It doesn't always necessarily mean that. I mean, think about the letter I was reading to you at the beginning, where there's a man that doubted even if he's a Christian, because he's looking around and he's seeing the lives of these other people that seem to have it all together. They seem to be trusting fully, and he's got all these questions that aren't answered. And is he even a Christian? And so I think that doubting isn't necessarily a state where you have to be angry at God. I think that doubting can be, as you described it, where I'm not sure of God's sufficiency, God's full provision for my life.
I mean, I don't have a problem doubting whether I underestimate God or not. That I know I doubt. But see, that's doubting me, and we're talking about doubting him.
You're saying when you doubt whether or not God can do something for you is you doubting and not doubting in God.
No, that's doubting in me. No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. I know. I never mind.
Well, in the Proverbs, it talks about the wicked man will appear to prosper, while the righteous man will seem to stumble. That right there can create a certain level of doubt that, how is it I'm trying to live this righteous life, and my neighbor who is almost an infidel has got better house, better cars, better family, better jobs, better whatever than I do.
Right.
Why ain't I blessed here?
And I've had that experience with some young families that I've challenged over time to start tithing and trusting in God in their finances. And they do that. And they think, well, I'm doing this and we're still struggling financially, and I'm not seeing anything here. I feel like I'm doing my part, but God's not living up to his part. I've had people that feel that way, and they doubt the sufficiency or of God's provision for their life, and just because they haven't really seen the blessings come through.
Well, Michael, I sure appreciate you coming in today. You're always welcome here. The series on, what did you call it again?
It's Room for Doubt.
Room for Doubt.
Begins Sunday, October 15th.
Not October.
Sunday, January 15th. Sorry.
And that's at the Fort Des Moines Church of Christ, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd encourage you to run over and say hi to Pastor Michael and check out one of his services. Podcasts are always available. All right, Frank, you have a nice weekend. Bob, you have a nice weekend. Jebediah, you have a nice weekend. And Michael, you have a nice weekend. And for those of you listening, think about what you doubt when it comes to your relationship with Christ. Maybe it's kind of hard to do here on the radio or on the phone, but pray about it, dig deep, because maybe God has something grand for you to discover about the relationship that he longs for with you, because he longs for a better relationship with you. He longs for a better relationship with all of us. Remember, resentments, they play against you. It's poison that'll drive you crazy. So today, think about that person you need to forgive and forgive them. Because as you forgive, you shall be forgiven. I'll see you at church.